You asked me why and how I got into environmental issues. I would say that I love the outdoors. I love the North. I love the wilderness. And every time I'm around it, I'd like to save it and make certain that my kids and their kids and your kids would have just as much chance to be thrilled by that beauty as Joan and I have been during our lifetime.
51 years ago, Minnesota Senator Walter Mondale took the lead with Wisconsin Senator Gaylord Nelson and then Congressman Al Quie and others to pass the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act. It was no small feat to create a national wild and scenic river system that protected rivers in every corner of the United States. Their efforts compare favorably with the efforts of America's greatest conservationists. President Ulysses S. Grant established Yellowstone National Park. It was America's first national park and the beginning of our national park system. President Theodore Roosevelt, in addition to creating 6 new national parks and 16 new national monuments, set aside 230 million acres of public lands in posterity. For his efforts, a national park bears his name. President Franklin Roosevelt's Civilian Conservation Corps planted 1 billion trees, built hundreds of campgrounds and trails, protected 40 million acres of farmland from erosion, and restocked lakes and rivers with almost 1 billion fish. So where does Walter Mondale fit in? Working as a team, he and President Jimmy Carter pushed a law through Congress that protected over 157 million acres of land in Alaska, including national parks, wild and scenic rivers, national forests, and recreation areas. It was the single largest expansion of protected lands in history and more than double the size of the national park system. The passage of the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act has meant that segments of 209 rivers in 40 states and Puerto Rico have been protected from development and pollution. That's over 12,700 miles of pristine river and adjacent land that have been saved in perpetuity. One final gift from Mondale and his partners is the St. Croix National Scenic Riverway, which is part of the National Park System. Today we treasure the 252 miles of beautiful and protected waterways in Minnesota and Wisconsin, along both the St. Croix and Namakagon rivers.
When Joan and I were dating, I took her on a canoe trip down the St. Croix River. We were in that canoe for an hour and a half, and it worked. And we were married, I think, a month later. So it's the love of the beauty that I think we all share here tonight, romance, and as I say in my book, religion. I think there's a moral dimension to these issues.